join, they can join in between. So first of all, if you can, please switch on your video. And I have a question to ask. First, before we start any tips or any discussion itself, my question is, according to you, what is a group discussion? So like, just raise your hand or something, and you can answer. Yeah, Yuvraj.
It's basic. Group discussion is when some people come together
Hmm.
and discuss some points about a certain topic.
Okay. What about you, Ayush?
Group discussion is basically like a group of people in which they exchange ideas and communicate their opinions on a topic.
Okay, so both of you are quite right. So group discussion is exchange of ideas, and at times the exchange of ideas takes place in the form of a debate, because there are, of course, in every group there are opposing views on a topic. So typical GD usually consists of 5 to 6 people, and thing about a GD is, when you are looking at a group discussion, the one thing different from a typical MUN or a debate is that the structure doesn't really exist as much in GD. In debate, you will see that there's a structure, person supposed to answer, like give their points one by one. In GD, usually it's a very versatile type of discussion. Now, either they could have something like they could have an open discussion where anybody can speak in any time. They could have a moderated discussion where the people are asked to speak by raising their hands. Or, of course, the best thing about a GD is that it can be brought into a MUN or a debate style. So, so GD is a very dynamic sort of debating type. So, of course, facts in GD matter much, much more than they do in debate. Because when you're talking about a GD, especially from a tech point of view, which is becoming quite popular these days, your facts needs to be quite correct when you are making your point regarding your stance. Otherwise, your opponents can very easily um, cancel out that point. You could say that, or they could very easily oppose that point. Then there's a very strong myth about GD, that if you talk a lot, if you talk loudly, and you talk more than all the others, you're doing a good job. That's actually slightly incorrect, because if your points are not spot on, if they are not strong enough, then talking more is not going to be of an advantage. At times it can even be a disadvantage if it leads to disruption in the group discussion. So you do need to talk moderately, not too less, not too much, but your points, they are of the most importance. And unlike a debate, in GDs there is also a neutral stance, in which usually a person can say that I'm taking a neutral stance, and I will decide upon whether I want to continue in a neutral stance or become for or against the prompt later on. So those are just some basics about a GD. I'll break it down. GD usually takes place in not exactly phases, but what happens is, first you get 10 to 15 minutes of research time. Then you have an opening statement, which is about 2 to 3 lines, just stating your stance, explaining one or two reasons why you choose the stance. Very quick thing, don't make it too long. Then comes the actual debate, which lasts typically for half an hour, 45 minutes, at times going up to 1 hour, depending on how much time the judges are allowing you to take. I'll elucidate on that later on. And closing statements are simply just a conclusion of whatever happened in the discussion, what you understood, what you took from the discussion. Again, restating your stance, and perhaps giving one more reason why you did so, why you took that stance. So now your research time is one of the most important things, because the thing about research time is it can make or break how well your group discussion goes. Because thing is, your aim during research time is not just to find points and say them. Because like, for example, you might have seen in debates, what you have to do is you have to research, make your points, make your rebuttals, and just say them. Thing about a group discussion is you got to think on your feet, meaning you got to think on spot. So your aim is not to get the points, your aim is to understand what the topic is about, what is the problem that caused it. Because usually a group discussion is about certain problems relating technology or certain problems in society. You could perhaps search up some examples which you could later utilize in your debate. And in a GD, one thing is of utmost importance when deciding your stance is that you should not take a stance which has very little points just because in your opinion that's the correct stance or the more ethical one. Because in real life, yes, we do need ethics is very important, but in a GD your main aim is to get a stance on which you can debate the most, on which you can talk the most. That is quite important because of course that's what a GD is, right? So then after that comes um, you need research time. In that, it is crucial because you must choose your stance very carefully, right? Usually the research time lasts for 10 to 15 minutes, and in those few minutes you need to mainly do three things. Choose your stance, as I already said. So understand what your first 1 to 2 points will be during the opening statement, and then just have an idea of what your points, what the theme of your points will be when you proceed during the debate. So any questions about anything I said till now?
No.
And I again, if you could please switch on your camera, like that would make the discussion much more, I would say, interactive.
Apologies, I'm on a PC.
Okay, so fine, all right, fine, okay. So then I'll move on to the next phase. Then comes the debate. I already covered the opening statement. It's just stating the stance, 1 or 2 reasons why you choose it. Don't make it too long. The judges do not like it. If especially if the judges are forced to tell you to stop your opening stance, that becomes a quiet, how they say, right? Your first impression is your last impression. So that's quite important. The debate itself should be more focused on points. Again, as I already said, respect of opponent's discipline. These are two very key things because screaming, see, you must understand that usually judges want to see who has the most knowledge on the topic, right? If somebody's talking too loud, if they are not letting the others speak, that's disrupting the group discussion. It's going to force the judges to stop you, and of course that's obvious that it's going to be against you. So of course I have seen from personal opinion that not talking at all has been of great disadvantage. So if you're not able to think of some points, try to listen to what the others are saying, build upon that, either support what another person is saying or oppose it. Make sure that you are having some sort of interaction throughout the group discussion until you can bring in your own points. Then at times what happens is you take a stance during your research period, you say your opening statement based on that, and while you're going through the debate you notice that, oh, I do not have enough points about this debate, about this prompt, and there are many people who can speak against me. So now this depends on the situation. If you feel you can continue with that prompt, I would suggest do not flip your stance, because while some judges say that they are fine with you flipping your stance, um, as long as you provide a correct explanation, sometimes the judges will notice that you do not have enough confidence or things like that. But of course, if you are in a completely, tough spot where you just have nothing to debate, then I would say then yes, of course, you will have to flip your stance. That obviously depends experience to experience. Sometimes your stance was taken so perfectly that you could easily debate on it, or sometimes it could work against you. Then after that, what comes is yeah, okay. So I would say that in tips, this is pretty much it, because I don't think I can give you too many tips, because the best thing about any form of debating, including GD, is practice, right? Fluency in English, voice modulation, etc. are important in a debate, but in GD, they hold lesser importance. They can give you a slight advantage, and yes, you could try to practice those if you have the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a prompt. I'm going to give you 10 to 15 minutes of research time. You can choose your stance. You can use the internet to get a few pointers, to get a few basic theme of the prompt. And then I'll ask you to give your opening statements. Um, and of course, I would request that once the debate has started, you do not search up points online, because then you won't really get a feel of the real thing. So your prompt, give me 1 minute. I'll post the prompt in the chat. So just give me 1 minute for that. So I've sent the prompt in the chat box. It's 5:23 right now. I think 10 minutes should be sufficient for this prompt, because this is not a research intensive prompt. It's more about beliefs. So I'll give you time till 5:33.
There, I think Shreya Nandini has joined us right now. So can you
I'll keep my video off. I think I'm having some connectivity issues. Could you repeat yourself, Nishant?
yeah, just brief Shreya. She has just joined the meeting.
Yeah, sure. Uh,
Ready.
so sh- um, Shreya, at the moment, I had given a prompt to the people who were attending the meeting. The prompt was, I'll just send it once more. This is the prompt. So like in this prompt, what's going to happen is you're going to get a few minutes of research time at first. Then um, you're going to give an opening statement. In the opening statement, all you have to do is you have to tell whether you support the prompt or whether you're against it. And then you just give perhaps one reason why you say so. Then after that, everyone else will give their opening statements. Then in the debate, all you have to do is you have to discuss with all the other participants why you feel your stance about the prompt is justified, and they will try to justify their own stance. Then after that, after a certain period of time, we will stop the debate. A closing statement will come. In the closing statement, you are supposed to just conclude what took place during the debate, what you understood, and what your own beliefs are by the end of it. And then the debate ends. Uh, luckily, this prompt doesn't require much research. So you can take research time till 5:35. Main aim during the research time is three things. First, that you see which stance of the prompt has the most number of points on which you can debate. So you can choose that stance and use it to your advantage. Then the second one is simply getting 1 or 2 points ready for the opening statement. And then the third point would be to ensure that you have enough information so you can continue during the debate and make points as you go. So luckily, this prompt doesn't require as much research as I said. So like, are you there?
Yeah, and actually, have you shared the prompt?
Sorry, could you repeat?
Have you shared the prompt?
Yeah, I sent it again. You didn't receive it in the meeting chat?
No.
Okay, I'll say it out loud. So the prompt is, should video gaming be an official sport? So like you can just collect your thoughts on that topic, perhaps write it down if you want to, and you can tell us when you're ready. So then we can start the discussion.
Okay, thank you.
So like, is everybody done with preparing their points and everything for the discussion?
Yes, I think we can start.
Okay,
If
fine.
you should share, give a confirmation.
Can you please wait till 5:38?
Sure.
The meeting time's about to end. I think we should shift to Google Meet. इसका तो time end
Actually,
होता रहेगा
Google
बार-बार.
Meet, thing is, this, as you might have been notified, we need to record these meetings. Google Meet, we can't record it. So if possible, could you just join back on this link? Once it
Go ahead, make
ends.
another meet.
No,
Okay.
there's the cooldown of rejoining, so I don't think they can rejoin right now. Just after that meeting ends.
Just make another meeting.
We'll send another link, yeah.
Fine, yeah, fine, okay. So we could start with the opening statements in this order. You'll be given an approximate of about 1.5 minutes. So once that ends, I'll let you know. When you're going to start, just tell me, I'll start the stopwatch.
I'm going to start right now.
Okay, start.
Okay. When a multiplayer video game is played is played competitively in front of an audience, and this is mostly played by professional gamers, it is said to be an esport. And there are a lot of reasons why esports should become official sports, like football and basketball, which are globally watched and in huge numbers. There include a lot of benefits of video games, but first I'm going to talk about the economic benefits, which is going to attract the Indian audience a lot, especially the brown parents who are aware a lot. I mean, they're really against video games. There are 3 sides to making money using video games, out of which the most basic is learning how to make video games. If you have a passion and talent for creating your own video games, that is what I mean. You should become a game developer. They take concepts and translate them into programming code that can be used to make games. And after that comes making content on platforms such as YouTube and Twitch. I guess we all have heard the name of Buga, the 2019 Fortnite World Champion. He won $2 million just by playing a game called Fortnite, which was very famous at that time. And in 2017, a famous gaming YouTuber called Daniel Middleton, made around $14 million just from YouTube.
Yeah, okay. 1.5 minutes was over. So good job, Yuvraj. So Prisha, could you please start?
Going by the traditional definition of a sport, which is an activity involving physical exertion and skill, in which an individual or a group of people compete against other individuals. So, esports online games require physical exertion as well. They need intense hand-eye coordination and quick reflexes. The other part is that just like normal sports, esports require lots of training as well. To get better and professional at a game, you need to put thousands of hours in training.
Okay.
Another point is that just like traditional sports like football and cricket, the esports are growing in popularity as well. Many people enjoy watching esports, which can be better for the economic growth of a country.
Okay, so Nandini, could you start with your opening statement?
Actually, it's not Nandini, it's Shreya.
Oh, so sorry.
That's okay. So, when we can you tell how can we start?
You just need to state whether you are for the prompt or against it, and then perhaps give 1 to 2 reasons to support it. Because the real discussion takes place after this. You're just starting it off. That's all you're pretty much doing, to be honest, in an opening statement.
So I'm no for the prompt. As like if we say 33% of adults play online games with their children, which can be a loss. And there are many chances that children can play the video games which are used for gambling. And 55% of online gamers are also women. That's okay. But they are above 40, which can make a loss in their eyesight, which have many problems. And if we talk about today, 2 billion people in the UK, only UK, play gambling, and it's children. It's not adults, it's children. And that's why I'm against it.
Okay. So, Jay, could you start with your opening statement?
Yes, sure. So, firstly, I am against this statement since video games do not involve the same level of physical activity as some traditional sports. If you are sitting in front of a screen for extended periods of time, you will obviously get obesity and suffer loss of eyesight, and it won't have such a such aspects of health benefits from normal sports that we get. So sports should be beneficial to our health, while uh, playing video games the whole day is not really as beneficial. And another point is that measuring our skill in games is a pretty confusing topic, uh, since we cannot analyze our opponent as much. Like in sports, we can analyze our opponent with the physical factors like how much is their height and their weight. But in video games, we do not even know the person who we are playing with.
Okay. So, are you done?
Yeah.
Okay. So, now what will happen is everyone's done their opening statements. We know that there are 2 people, that is namely Prisha and Yuvraj, who are for the statement that yes, it should be an official sport. And we know that Shreya and Jay are against it, that it should not be an official sport. So now what's going to happen is usually in a competition, the judges get an idea of what the views of the participants are. Now, um, I'll be I'll catch you up in a minute, Abhay. So so what happens is now the debate will start.
All right, may I start?
Actually, this will be an open debate, so you can cut in whenever you want, as long as there is discipline and you are letting the other person complete their point. You don't need to ask me. It's an unmoderated. This is what is called an unmoderated group discussion.
All right, then I'm going to start. I guess Jay stated that in video games it doesn't have the same level of competitiveness and the same adrenaline rush or something. I don't know. Like in the real life games like football and basketball. But what he didn't consider is games like indoor games like chess, which are exactly how video games work. You just sit on a chair and compete against the other person. And regarding the age factor, there are chess players who are like 5 years old and they can beat grandmasters. So I don't get it why sitting on a chair and looking at a screen is wrong. Any opposition?
Um,
Prisha.
Well,
So like you said, sitting on a chair and seeing a screen is why it is considered as wrong. If we talk about children, in front of parents can see that children are studying on a screen by sitting on a chair and seeing the screen. But what they know that the children are playing games and wrong games, like I said, gambling.
Well, there is a thing known as parental controls, which is available on every device, including the Nintendo Switch and Xbox, the PlayStation, and obviously on the PC.
Parents who don't know about this, then what?
Well, they should know. Parents should. I mean, I guess a lot. All the parents know about parental controls because they are the ones who help little kids set up their, I mean, devices. And every device, every gaming console, every PC has an option for parental controls while setting it up.
Yes, we can say, but many parents know about this, but there are most parents who don't know about this.
Well, then they shouldn't give their bank account details to their kid, obviously. And before money transaction through the kids, like if they're going to gamble, money transaction needs to take place. And obviously for money transaction, they'll need the bank account details, Paytm details, I don't know, but all of those which belong to their parents, and they'll need permission from the parents.
Okay, I think the debate's getting quiet in the sense there are only two participants taking part. So I would request that Jay and Prisha also take part, and I'll just throw in a few points to stimulate the discussion. So I would say that some disadvantage, of course, as everybody said, there's no physical exertion, harmful for health, and all those things. And you could focus on points about hacking, strangers, cyberbullying. You could focus on those points as well. If you want to think in different aspects. You want to think like you are in that position yourself. What could be the threats you could face when you are, say, gaming online? Perhaps there's a person who's playing with you who is insulting you, who is bullying you, or perhaps they're trying. At times it's possible that a person is hacking. They can even at times compromise your security. So I would say that take out points from our day-to-day tech-related life and use it in the discussion to push your stance. So anybody want to perhaps build upon anything said till now?
I'm going to wait for a
They
second.
mostly spoke about the opposing points. So I think Yuvraj and Prisha should try to respond and argue.
I'm going to wait for Prisha for a moment. Please go ahead.
Are you there? Or like, yeah.
Yes, as we all know, only major sports are played in the Olympics. So the International Olympic Committee has also recognized esports as a potential Olympic event.
We were talking about cyberbullying and how to prevent it. All right, I'll start. The first major reason that starts cyberbullying is being gullible and messaging or speaking disrespectful messages or angry messages on the voice chat or the chat of a game or something. And this is why parental controls exist, to limit the possibilities of a game. and preventing their kids from opening messages from strangers.
Okay, fine. If like let's say others are not speaking, I'll throw in a point there. So you said that we need parental control against such practices, right? Now let's say
Yep.
take an example. I'll just give you a random example, Fortnite, right? So you have
Yep.
voice chat, you have messages and everything. Let's say a child is playing that. Agreed, the parent can control what games the child is playing, but once he or she has started the game, do you really
Hmm.
think it's possible to potentially completely end the amount of um, communication that can come from another person? And there are also disadvantages to switching it off. Let's take a scenario. The parent says you're not allowed to talk to anybody on the internet. Okay, the child's going to remain safe, and that's good, right? But another disadvantage of that is, because it's so extreme, the child is never going to learn what it's like to actually talk to a stranger, how to handle yourself in such situations in real life. How do you propose parental control will moderate? Because parental control at most times is extreme. Usually when we're talking about in game, it's either going to completely switch off communication, or it's all free flow. So what do you think about that?
Well, even parental controls are going to have limitations, and when it comes to talking to strangers, that's what school is for. People your age, under the moderation of teachers, you can communicate with them and make new friends while preventing bullying, because obviously teachers are there in the school, and I don't see a reason why people need to do that on online games.
Okay, I'll throw in the reason why. Let's say when I am like let's say take the example, I am 10 years old, I'm in a school, I'm making friends in the way you said. Fine, it's going to work for a few years. I'm in a very safe environment where I am able to meet new people with moderation. Now take the example, I'm 15 or 16 years old, and I'm just going to say a place, a park or a mall or whatever. Can you potentially set up a teacher there to moderate things? No, right? You need to have some experience in that, in that social environment, so you can talk to the people, you can handle yourself if let's say they do try to insult you, to bully you, whatever. What do you think about that?
Well, that's what communities on apps like Discord are for. On online games, you like match up with I say, let's say, match up with a stranger, and that story ends after one match. So yep, on Discord communities, you can get to know a person and potentially make a new friend.
Okay, fine.
Well,
um
there are always going to be upsides and downsides to the internet, but looking at the positive end, I guess, chill. Wait, this debate was about if online games should be um
an official sport.
of an official sport, but it turned to the safety side.
Exactly.
Well, that shouldn't be considered when it comes to professional gaming, I think.
Okay, fine. Does anybody else have anything to say?
May I speak something?
Yeah, sure.
Like Yuvraj said about Discord, when we talk to a stranger and match it, and after one match it ends. But sometimes strangers make us too comfortable that we share our personal things also to them.
Well, that's when your maturity comes in.
People are mature. Many people are mature, but sometimes this happens. You can see in our day-to-day life, in newses also. This happens. Mature people also do it. The reason doesn't come out maturity.
Well, everything has its downsides. I'm not going to argue that mature people are not doing stuff like this, but the like cyber protection stuff, cyber police, they're doing everything they can to prevent this stuff and close down scam centers.
Okay, does anybody else have anything to say?
I guess we should shift this debate back to the side of professional gaming, where stuff like this doesn't matter.
Okay. Do you or anyone else have anything to say regarding that?
Well, it really comes down in the end why parents why parents will want you to play games is to make money or to gain knowledge. When it comes to the side of knowledge, games like God of War, Assassin's Creed Odyssey will are gonna give you a lot of knowledge about Greek mythology while still entertaining you. And other games like Valheim, Assassin's Creed Valhalla are towards the Norse mythology side. That is also a considerable factor when it comes to gaming.
Okay. Does anybody want to add anything? Fine. I think we'll have to wrap this up in like 2 minutes. So I'll ask perhaps one last question. So I think it's quite universally agreed that otherwise, generally what we have seen in society as a sport is something where you have to of course use your mental agility, but also use specific skills to win in the sport, right? In the case of video gaming, yes, there is skill and yes, there is practice. But I think we agree that in a video game, it's all about how good your muscle memory is, in the sense that how good can you click the same buttons, the same combination of buttons, how many times or how fast, whatever. And again, I feel that in my personal opinion, in a video game, the use of your mental agility is not as much. Like, for example, in basketball, in football, or whatever sport, you're trying to find a way to perhaps get past the opponent, be it a defender, so that you can get to the goal and score and perhaps win the game later on. In the case of a video game, I feel that the use of mental agility is less, and it's more of just how well you can shoot again, which is just how good are you at clicking the same buttons in a specific manner, which again, muscle memory. So do you have anything to say regarding that?
Well, a little disagreement that comes down to games that are based on games like football, basketball, and real life games. An example of that would be chess again, which will require your mental agility, and regardless of your like button clicking muscle memory skill, it is still your I mean mental strength is still relevant.
Fine. Does anybody else want to add anything? Okay, I think it's 6:04, so we'll have to conclude this session. I guess I'll end with what I understand can be feedback. I would say that most of the participants in this group discussion were quiet uh, throughout the discussion. And of course, this is just supposed to be a trial. Of course, it's not a competition itself. There's no winning, losing in this. Because in the end, you're trying to understand what a group discussion is. So I would suggest that the next time you take part in a group discussion, wherever it is, be it in one of our sessions or be it in another session or in a competition, I would say try to participate and perhaps debate on the points going on in whatever manner you can. And I think your debating was quite exemplary, Yuvraj. I really can't think of feedback at the moment. So, does anybody have anything to say? Or should we conclude this session?
I say we conclude it.
Fine. I'll take your silence as acceptance. Thank you for attending this session, guys. See you the
When will
next
the
time.
next session be?
Yeah.
बता दे उनको.
Sorry, could you repeat, Nishant?
Tell them the date for the next session, so at
I
least
think
these guys could
I
join.
think we're still deciding that. So we'll let them know on Discord.
All right.
Okay, so thanks guys.
Yeah, thanks. Do remember to join the next session because we'll be going in depth in group discussions. We'll be discussing more tips and yeah, trying to debate more and discuss on more prompts. Go in depth basically.
Thanks, bye guys. Bye.
Bye. You can stop the recording over there.
I'll end the meeting. I think that's going to stop it. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'll
you can end
send
it
it
now.
over. I'll send it to the other participants.